Dirk Witte Music Store in Utrecht, the Netherlands, and today we are taking a look at this very cool rock and roll machine. We are taking a look at a Les Paul Junior from the Gibson custom shop, but all the way from 2006. Taking a look at this Gibson 57 Les Paul Junior from the custom shop in its original sunburst VOS finish. So already 20 years old. I wonder at what point we will start like referring to early 2000s as like vintage. Probably not in a very long time. But yeah, this one has definitely been played, has been gigged quite a bit. Definitely shows some battle scars, but like all in the right ways. Like definitely screams rock and roll machine. And yeah, it just plays and sounds really killer. So yeah, this is then based on a 1957 Les Paul Junior. The Les Paul Junior, just a little bit of history, that was then first introduced in 1954, I believe, as the entry-level Gibson Les Paul model. So the Les Paul Standard was the very first Les Paul, which was then introduced in 1952. It would then have a gold top, a gold carved maple top, as well as two P90 pickups, trapezoid pearloid inlays. And then in 1953 you would then get the more fancy version of that. That would then be the Gibson Les Paul Custom. And then in 1954 they then introduced a model that was like the least fancy, which would then be the Les Paul Junior. I think that the Les Paul Special was also introduced around that same time, which would then be like in between the Standard and the Junior. But the Junior is the most bare bone, the most like straightforward, and yeah, just the most pure Les Paul, if you will, in that sense. Like no fancy bells and whistles, just one pickup. Not that you need any more than that, especially if you're like about just rocking out. So yeah, really cool guitar. Let's then dive into the specs. So there are not a whole lot of specs to go over because it is so bare bone. We have a slab mahogany body, obviously in just a traditional Les Paul body shape with a single cutaway. By slab I mean that you do not have a carved top. So the Les Paul Junior is just mahogany, no maple, and it's just flat on the top as well as on the back, obviously in order to keep the cost down. It is then obviously also done in this vintage sunburst finish. And given that this is 20 years old, you can probably already see some nicks and dings and scratches kind of like all over. But this looks really cool if you ask me. We have then got, yeah, one pickup. One P90 bridge pickup, dog ear P90, also made in a Gibson custom shop from that time. This is all original, by the way, apart from the strap buttons. So yeah, you're very much limited, but that can also be really inspiring. Like you can't choose between like neck or bridge pickup or both on, and then if you have both on, like how you would blend the two. It's just like, hey man, this is what you get, deal with it. And that is also kind of like the charm of this model. It is so unapologetic in a way. Like it is so bare bone and so raw in a way that, yeah, it does really inspire you to play differently due to that, yeah, just how it is so incredibly simple. Yeah. Just then got that P9 pickup, got a very simple wraparound tailpiece, which is basically just a stop bar tailpiece that you would find on a Les Paul Standard, for example, with the two-pneumatic bridge. So the only difference is that you do have these hexagon like screw pieces that you can then like use to kind of like set the bridge at an angle for your intonation. But given that this bridge is just basically non-intonated, you're also quite limited in how you can intonate the guitar. What you often see is that this would then get like replaced for a different style of a bridge that does give you more intonation. So like higher up the neck, you'll probably also hear that it will not sound very much, yeah, in tune in a way, just because this bridge is so incredibly simple and so lo-fi in a way. But that is how they came back in the day, back in 1957, which this model is obviously based on. You can then also raise and lower it like so with these big 2 screws. It's got this black pickguard, single ply plastic material, and then obviously just one volume and one tone control for your 1P9 pickup. Also got thumb bleeder indicator so that you know where the control knobs are set. The strap buttons have been changed for shawl or strap locks. So if you're a fan of those, then that is obviously nice to already have then. Move on to the neck. That is a one-piece mahogany neck. And this is, yeah, a 1957 profile. So if you are kind of like familiar with 1950s necks, 1957 is one of the quite big years. 1958 is kind of like the largest. It was only after 1958 that they started to kind of like slim down. But 1957 is quite beefy, so this neck is quite beefy. I would say baseball bat territory. Nicely rounded though, but definitely chunky. So if you like big necks, right up your alley. If you don't like big necks, not up your alley, this neck. Yeah, if you have decent sized hands like me, this will be a very nice neck to feel and to play. Also has some wear on the back, kind of like some impressions, but nothing major, like no big major nicks or dings. But you do feel that this has definitely seen some playing time. Got a rosewood fingerboard, which is also very plain, no binding, just plain dot pearloid inlays. And then we've got your original nut, which appears to be a bone nut, I think. Nicely cut, still feels very flush over here on the side, so I'm pretty confident that this is the original nut. The frets, by the way, are also in a really nice shape. Even though it has been played quite a bit, the frets are in really nice shape. Maybe there has been a refret at some point because these are so clean. Could very well be, but they are the correct size. Like they do not feel like that they're like after market, if you will. So they feel and play really well. Kind of like medium jumbo, or maybe like a little bit narrow tall or something like that. I'm not quite sure what it was called again in the Gibson world, but they're not tiny frets, but they're also not huge frets, so definitely kind of like the medium range and just very much modern player friendly. The headstock is also very much bare bone, just got your silk screens, your Gibson logo silk screen, and then your Les Paul Junior silk screen there in the middle. Trussel cover also plain, just one ply black plastic. Then on the back we've got the original Cluson 3-in-a-row tuners with your white plastic tips. Also then your serial number there on the back. So yeah, the last thing to mention also comes with its original hard shell case. The certificate unfortunately is lost, so we don't have that included, but it is, yeah, really obvious that this is indeed from the Gibson custom shop, given the serial number style and just the whole build style and feel. That's very much like non-Gibson USA but the Gibson custom shop, so it feels like a really high quality Les Paul Junior, and yeah, also definitely looks like it. Yeah, that is pretty much all that there is to mention. We could go over a little bit of the condition. Again, got some nicks, dings all over, scratches. This has definitely been gigged quite a bit, but hasn't been abused at the same time, so no breaks, cracks or repairs on this guitar, but by no means mint at all. So you do got some, yeah, just honest player wear that has definitely done like on a stage. Like this has been somebody's gigging machine, and it definitely feels like it. So really cool Les Paul Junior. Yeah, from 2006, already 20 years old. Plays and sounds pretty killer. So let's move on to that part. Let's actually hear what it sounds like. But first, if you're interested in this 2006 Gibson 57 Les Paul Junior from the Gibson Custom Shop in its original VOS Summers finish, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of very cool used gear like this, or like vintage gear, new gear, acoustics, electrics, bass guitars, even of that really cool stuff. Also be sure to like us and follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. With all that being said, let's hear about this really killer 2006 Gibson Les Paul Jr. from the Gibson custom shop sounds like. Going to be playing it through this late 1970s Fender Pro Reverb. I'll also be grabbing the clone because we do got a little bit more time for that because we just have one P90 pickup. So yeah, also then we'll do some hard rocking, if you will. So let's then move on to that part, and let's then take this really cool 2006 Les Paul Jr. from the Gibson custom shop for a spin.